Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm sorry I'm a little bit behind. You know how it is, driving down the highway. So I hope everyone is up. We had the spring ahead. I tried to give you guys a heads up yesterday, just spring ahead. So we lost an hour, but the good thing is we're gonna have a lot of daylight, more daylight. And if you're like me, you need the daylight, you need the sun, you need everything. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to come in to the room. As always, I just want to thank God for letting us see another day that was not promised to us. I want to thank Him for not letting our bed be our cooling board. I know I say that all the time, but after I attended a couple of funerals here, thank God that He didn't make our last night our last night. Hey, sister. Hey, Nikki. I want to just keep those in prayer. Those that are bereaved. We were part of a funeral yesterday where the spouse's name is Beverly Rivers, and she lost her husband, and it was a wonderful service. And Al did the service yesterday, not even knowing him or her, and just the people that spoke really helped him do his eulogy, because they say you write your own eulogy just by the way you live. So if you live a good life, it'll be easy for somebody to eulogize you, because you guys do know that the eulogy is for you all that's left behind. The eulogy is not for the person that's in the box, because their fate has already been determined. Hey, Mother. Hey, Auntie. I see Roger. Hey, Kirsten. Good morning, everyone. I apologize for being late, so I won't hold you, but I see everybody got up this morning and turned their clocks ahead. Also, I just want you guys, my auntie is on here, and she's the world's greatest aunt. If there ever, everybody should have an auntie like Eleanor. And she had a fire in her house that she's lived in. I can't even count the length she's had that house. But God is good, because no one was hurt. She wasn't hurt. And you know what? You can get things back. I don't care about things. I didn't care if the house burned to the ground. As long as she's okay, you can get some more stuff. You just can't get another her. So I'm thanking God for her being safe, and the friend that was in the house with her, and the people across the street that came and alerted them that there was a fire. So she's doing well. She's on here, and we're getting back. She's getting back to normal. She's going to get her stuff back. Okay, so I'm going to get started with this message. So I'm saying, how did you get that from what I just said? How did you get that from what I just said to you? Yes, sister. So it's communication versus comprehension. And comprehension seems to be a big problem for most of us. And I'm saying us because I'm included in that. So now I know most of you, most people would say that these two words mean the same thing, or they're interchangeable, but they're not, and they have different meanings. And in fact, one depends on the other to work. So the definition of communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. But the definition of comprehension is the action or capability of understanding something. So you can communicate it all you want, but if the person on the receiving end doesn't understand, then it's all for naught. So you can talk to somebody till you're blue in the face, but if the person that you're talking to doesn't listen well, doesn't actively listen, meaning listen to what you're saying, not what they think you're going to say, not what they want you to say, or not what they want to hear, but what you're actually saying. If they don't listen well, or they don't comprehend what you're trying to say, then it's really a wasted conversation. And stop wasting your time with them. Comprehension to me, is more important than communication itself. Because like I said, I can talk to them blue in the face, but if you don't understand what I'm saying, then what's the sense of talking? Hi, Sister Ruby. Can't wait to see you this weekend. So no matter how well you prepare your message, like this message that I'm trying to give to you guys today, no matter how well I prepare this message, if I don't use the right words, the right hand gestures, the right signs, anything to make it clear to you, and if the other person doesn't comprehend or understand what I'm trying to get across, then this message will fall on deaf ears. And I know that not every message that I talk about applies to you all, but at least I pray that I'm getting across what I'm trying to say, that you are comprehending. Or like Chris Tucker said, do you understand the words that's coming out of my mouth? So it's very important that for you to check if the person is comprehending. Like, you got to make sure, do you understand what I'm saying? Do I need to say it again? Especially if you look at them and you can see that they got a blank look, ask them. Effective communication requires active listening, not listening just so you can get a word in as soon as they take a breath. That's not listening. That's not listening at all. Not listening, but you got your phone down. Put your ticker away. I told y'all that last week. Without active listening, you'll never comprehend anything. And so if you just focus on the communication part, or you just focus on the comprehension part, you're going to end up not doing a good job, because neither one of them are going to come across. So what I mean by that is, if you just worry about getting your point across, communicating, but the other person doesn't, but you don't care whether they understand or get what you're saying or comprehend, then you will end up in some real difficult relationships. And it doesn't matter what type of relationship, your job, your family, your spouse or significant other, your church, everybody, any kind of relationship you're in, if you can't communicate and the person that you're talking to can't comprehend what you're saying, you're in a relationship. So now, I told you all before that when you're at work, there are certain things that are expected of you. You know, the things that were talked about or discussed in the interview. The things that you readily agreed to do once if you got the job. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Because I often say to people that we hire, I wish the person that did the interview show up for this job. And when I say that, the people are not unaware and they're not confused as to what I'm saying to them. Because in the interview, remember, I was in the interview. In the interview, I heard you say, whatever you need, I'll stay late, I'll come extra, blah, blah, until they got the job. And then now don't nobody know nothing. So if you're asked or given a task that needs to be done, but you didn't understand what they want you to do, but you didn't have enough sense to ask for clarification for whatever reason, so that you get the instructions right, then you're going to have a problem on that job. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Now, I'm not going to go into why people choose not to get clarification when communicating with others, because that would be a whole different intro. Because I don't know if people don't ask for clarification because of their pride. I don't know if they don't ask for clarification because they think they'll be embarrassed because they didn't understand. I promise you're not the only one that don't understand, or they generally just don't comprehend. But at some point, or after many misunderstandings, you would start to think that your way is not working and you should try another way. I work with a person that works the last little nerve I have in my body, because they don't really understand what I'm saying to them, but they won't ask for clarification. They'll say, oh, I know. Okay, well then, I'll walk away. But what were you trying to say? Then you know what? I wasn't trying to say anything, because you just told me that you know. So if you know, go ahead and do it. So, but like I said, that's a whole different intro. But think about when there is difficulty with communication and comprehension in your family. No doubt there will be misunderstandings about what is being said, especially if the person on the receiving end doesn't ask for clarification. Now, they're going to walk away from the conversation feeling some type of way, all because they didn't ask for clarification, because they didn't understand. The person talking probably assumed that they understood what we were saying. Now, I know most of us were not raised to ask questions, especially when we're talking to an adult, because you don't question grown folks and you don't question adults. And okay, but this new generation asks questions. But we have to learn how to talk to each other. And not only that, but we have to learn how to ask questions when we don't understand or comprehend what they're trying to tell you. Think about your relationships. How many times have you misunderstood something that was said or you thought was said? And I told y'all before, the two words, I thought, will cause problems in your life every single time. Because I thought that you meant this. Well, why didn't you ask me? I thought that we were going to meet over here. Well, why didn't you ask me? I thought, instead of thinking, because you can't read somebody's mind, ask the question. Good morning, Nancy. So when you don't ask for clarification, you clearly are going to have some misunderstandings. And you didn't ask for clarification because you thought you knew what you heard. But did you? Did you hear what they said, or did you hear what you wanted to hear? What you wanted them to say? I think most of us forget that men and women think totally different when it comes to communication. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're hardwired different. Men are not wired to sit in their feelings and read your mind. I told you, y'all pastor told me I can do a lot of things, but read your mind is not one of them. So if you want something, you need something, you have to tell me. Instead of walking around with a long face and standing in front of him and thinking he should see that I look sad. He should see that I'm upset. He should see. He ain't going to see that because he's busy. He's thinking about what he got to do next. If this bill is paid, is college tuition. I mean, there's other things. So open your mouth and tell people what you want. Tell people, I didn't understand. Will you give me some clarification? What do you mean by that? So men are straightforward and they shoot from the hip and they go straight to the point. And I see my brother Roger Sanders on here, and I know he got me on this. Men don't really beat around the bush when they're talking. They get right to it. They get right to it. But when it comes to us, when it comes to women, okay, when it comes to me, I will go all the way around John Robbins' barn just to get to where I'm trying to go. So let me give you an example of a conversation that Al and I had. So he'll ask me a question like, where did you get these steaks from? They're good. Now I heard him say, where did you get the steaks from? They're good. So instead of me just saying that meat market that's in West Dayton, I'll say something like, well, I was going to go to Kroger's because I heard they were having a sale on them. But the girl at work heard me talking about getting some steaks for dinner. And she said, don't go to Kroger and get them because she heard that Sam's Club had better cuts of meat and they were cheaper than the ones at Kroger's. But on my way to Sam's, I remembered that I saw an ad for Costco's meat and they looked good. So I guess, and then they were cheaper than the other stores. So I turned around and I was heading to Costco. But before I could get all the way turned around, my friend Homer called me and told me to go to the meat market in West Dayton to get your steaks. He said he already called ahead and they have a few pieces waiting for you. Now, let me ask a question. Why did I go through all of that to answer his simple question? No clue. This conversation could have been over 5 minutes ago. He said, where did you get the steaks from? They're good. All I had to say was, there's a meat market in West Dayton that I went and got them from. But no, I had to tell him where I was going to get them from, but then I had to change that story, but then I had to change that because somebody said, and so he didn't even know, by the time I finished, he didn't even know what question he had asked me. So then I get in my feelings because he's looking at me like I got a third eye, and he's looking at me like, what are we even talking about? So obviously I didn't comprehend what he was saying. He just wanted to know where I got him from. And I did tell him eventually where I got him from, but I took the scenic route. He didn't ask for the scenic route. He didn't say to me, hey, these steaks are good. Tell me all the things it took for you to get these good steaks and bring them here to make them. He didn't say that. He said, where did you get these steaks from? They're good. Well, I did tell him where I got the steaks from, but I also told him where I was going to get the steaks from. But then something happened, but then this happened, but then Costco's, but then Sam's Club, but then Homer called, and then West Dayton. What in the world is wrong with me? Now, mind you, I'm trying to get better at this because I had the nerve to get upset because he's looking at me thinking, what is she talking about? And I could tell at some point in my conversation that at some point as I was explaining to him this long story, that he regretted even asking me the question. I know that look. I know that look. Y'all know that look because y'all seen that look. Now, my sister on here, my sister Lisa, she's more like Al. And Tommy, her husband, is me. So this conversation would have been different for Tommy. But if Al would have asked Lisa, where'd you get these steaks from? They're good. She'd have said that meat market up on West Dayton. But I'd have been like, yeah, but didn't you tell me that you went to Kroger's? But that ain't what he asked me. So we have to learn how to communicate with each other without being upset, without thinking it's that something is wrong with us if we don't understand, without thinking it's a problem that we don't ask for clarification. Because if the person that's talking to you, that's communicating with you, wants to make sure that they get their point across, they won't mind you asking for clarification. They won't mind you saying, hey, okay, so I heard you say this, but what are you looking for? What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with that. It shouldn't be. And if the person that's communicating with you is upset and looking at you like, how don't you know what I mean? Then they're the problem. It's not the person that's trying to comprehend the problem. The person that's communicating, if they get upset with you because you're asking for clarification, you ask them to repeat that again. I want to make sure that I heard you. If you say, now what I think I heard you say, that's the great way to do it. That buys you time. If somebody says something to you and you don't really understand, say, okay, before I answer, what I think I heard you say was blah, blah, blah. And if they didn't say that, then they'll tell you what they said, and then you can answer the question they're asking you. I learned this a long time ago in school, and I thought it was silly. It's not. As you get older, and you done had so many misunderstandings, and you don't know why you was talking to this person earlier, now this person is rolling their eyes at you, but you don't know what you did. But they won't tell you what happened. They won't tell you that how you came at them was wrong. They won't tell you how do you ever communicate with somebody if I'm so upset that I can't tell you why I'm mad at you. Well, then you don't want resolution. If you're upset with me and I say, what did I do? You know what you did. You don't want resolution. You want attention. And I'm not here for that. At 60, I'm not here for the attention. So it's time for us to learn how to communicate better. It's time for us to realize that communication and comprehension are two different things. Just because I say something does not mean you understand what I say. And if you don't understand what the person said, ask for clarification. It doesn't have to turn into a thing. Hey, before I answer this question, let me make sure I'm answering the question that you asked me. You know how many times I've answered questions and I was like, what are you talking about? That's not even what I said. So then I get mad because I didn't ask for clarification. And he's like, I don't know why you're mad. I said this and you're not confused about what I'm saying. Well, yeah, I was confused, but I was just, I don't know, was it pride? Was I embarrassed to say, I don't know what you're talking about? Was I too embarrassed? Was I too prideful to say, before I answer this question, let me make sure I heard what you're saying? There's nothing wrong with that. It will make your relationship better. And when people ask you a question, ladies, when a man asks you a question, answer that question. Don't go around John Robbins' barn like I do. Answer the question. What do you want for dinner? Let's go to Applebee's. Where did you get that dress from? Well, Macy's had a sale on them, but I knew that I don't like Macy's stuff, so I went to Elder Bimmer, but Elder Bimmer was closing by the time I got there. So I looked on Amazon, but it wasn't going to be here in time. Man, where did you get the dress from? Because if we don't start answering them, they're going to stop asking us questions. Because I don't want to hear all that. Men just get to the point. Real men, get to the point. If two brothers are talking and one brother say, hey man, where you pick that car up at? I got it at Schmidt. That's it. But if you ask me, well, I was mad at Schmidt when they sold us a lemon and a Nissan. I'll never buy another Nissan. So I called. Man, I asked you where you got that car from. We got to stop doing that. I got to stop doing that. I got to take a second. I got to step back and say, okay, just so I'm clear on what you're asking me. Or you could say to them, so what I heard you say was, and if that's not what they said, they'll tell you, I don't know how you heard that, but that's not what I said. Let me tell you what I said again. And then there's no mix up in communication. All right. Let's do better. I see a couple of fellas on here and I know that they with me. I know they with me. It's hard dealing with us sometimes. Now, most of the women on here can shoot straight from the hip. I'm not them. I'm gonna take the scenic route. So if you don't want the scenic route, don't ask me the question unless you got some time on your hands. But I'm trying to get better. I've even said, I've asked somebody, who was that passed away? And it was a female that I asked, oh, you remember that lady that used to babysit and lived in the projects 2 houses down? Okay, so go, not her house, but go down 3 houses. Remember they had a brown Cadillac? Who passed away? Just give me the name and let me figure all that other stuff out. But see, when I do that, I'm really trying to make sure you know who I'm talking about. Y'all ain't dumb. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I don't have to do all that. So, all right. I know I came on here late, so I'm not going to hold you guys. I hope you all have a blessed week. And if you're here with us today, that means that God blessed us to see another week. And I'm thanking him for that. We're thanking him for our family circle not being broken. Yes. Now, Yasmin Brown Jones is the truth. And she said, if you too mad to tell me why you're mad at me, you don't, I said what I said. If you're upset with me, but I come to you like an adult and say, obviously I did something to you to make you upset. And I want to apologize, but tell me what I did so that I won't do it again. That's number one. Because if I did it and I don't know I did it and you walk around here mad, tell me so that I won't do it again. And that way, if you don't want to tell me, if you say stuff like, oh, you know what you did, you don't want resolution, you want to stay mad, so you know what, go on over there and stay mad. I'm not going to come back to you again, because I'm telling you, I didn't know what I did. Let me know so I won't do it again. Now, if you tell me what I did that make you upset and I do it again, then I disregarded you, and you can feel the way you feel. You can feel the way you feel. But if you don't tell me what I did, I can't stop doing it because I don't know what it is. So be an adult. Grow up. Say it. Say, you said this and that hurt my feelings because that was a trigger. I'm sorry. I didn't know that, and I won't do it again. Thank you for telling me, and I apologize. I'm big enough to apologize when I do something wrong. But if I can't apologize if I don't know what I did, I'm not going to apologize to you and say, well, if I did something to hurt your feelings, I apologize. That ain't no apology. So keep that one. And I'm not going to come at you with that. So if you're not just looking for attention, if you got to take me to the side or take me wherever you want to take me, tell me what I did so that I won't do it again. Because my goal is not to hurt anybody's feelings. All right. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Y'all have a blessed week. This is March already. So you have a blessed week and be safe.